There are children who never really got to be children. They were small in body, but old in spirit. They learned too early that the world could not always be trusted to take care of them. Perhaps they had to soothe a parent's sadness, manage the chaos of a household, or carry responsibilities that should have belonged to adults. On the outside, they looked mature, capable, even admirable, but inside, something fragile was quietly left behind. To grow up too fast is not simply to age quickly. It is to step into roles before one's heart is ready. It is to become the comforter when you still long to be comforted. It is to learn how to anticipate the moods of others, when what you really needed was someone to notice yours. These children become experts at reading the room, at sensing danger, at keeping the peace. They become little diplomats, little caretakers, little protectors. And while the world may praise them for being so responsible, the truth is that responsibility was never a gift. It was a burden they had no choice but to carry. The psychology of such a child is marked by a deep split. On one side, there is competence, resilience, and strength. On the other, there is a hidden well of longing for safety, for play, for the freedom to be unguarded. They may grow into adults who seem endlessly reliable, who always know what to do, who never collapse. But beneath the surface, they may feel a quiet exhaustion, a sense that they missed out on something essential, something irreplaceable. Often, these adults struggle with trust, because when you grow up too fast, you learn that the people who were supposed to protect you could not. You learn that love might come with conditions, or that affection might vanish when you need it most. So, you build walls. You become self-sufficient. You tell yourself you don't need anyone. And yet, in the quiet moments, you ache for the very thing you've taught yourself to live without. The feeling of being cared for, without having to earn it. There is also a peculiar guilt that follows. Many who grew up too fast feel uneasy when they try to rest, or play, or ask for help. They feel selfish for wanting softness. They feel indulgent for needing comfort. They may even sabotage their own happiness because somewhere deep down, they believe they don't deserve it. After all, they were trained to believe that their worth came from holding everything together, not from simply existing. But here is the truth. No one is meant to skip their childhood. And if you did, it is not your fault. You adapted in the only way you could. You became strong because you had to. You became wise because the world demanded it. And while that strength is real, it does not erase the child inside you who still longs to be seen, to be held, to be allowed to stumble without consequence. Healing begins when we stop shaming that child for existing, when we stop telling ourselves to just get over it. Healing begins when we allow ourselves to grieve what we lost, the carefree afternoons, the sense of safety, the right to be small. It begins when we recognize that the maturity we were forced into was not a sign of superiority, but of survival. And perhaps most importantly, healing begins when we learn to give ourselves, in adulthood, what we never received in childhood, to create spaces of play, even if they feel silly, to ask for help, even if it feels uncomfortable, to rest, even when the old guilt whispers that we should be doing more, to let others care for us, even if it feels unfamiliar. The psychology of a child who grew up too fast is not a tragedy. It is a story of resilience. But resilience should not be mistaken for wholeness. The task of adulthood is not only to survive, but to reclaim what was lost. To give ourselves permission to be both strong and tender, both capable and dependent, both grown and still, in some ways childlike. If you recognize yourself in this story, know this. You are not broken. You are not weak for longing for what you missed. You are simply human. And the child you once were is still waiting, not to be erased, but to be welcomed home. Because growing up too fast may have shaped you, but it does not have to define you. You can still learn, even now, what it feels like to be safe. You can still discover the joy of being cared for. And you can still, at last, give yourself the childhood you deserved.